I think it was a very interesting opportunity for the Greek Cypriot community to meet the Prime Minister and express on him, the strength of feeling. But my view is much more needs to be done, and much more both by the UK and of course the European Parliament and the European Commission. If we don't push hard, we're going to get nowhere with Turkey. We have to work harder and be more direct to them and to say what is their responsibility and how quickly they can change their mind for the better of everybody.
I was pleasantly surprised to receive the invitation. Wasn't quite sure why the event was being coordinated. Wonderful PR, obviously. I'm glad that the Prime Minister has recognised the invaluable contribution that the Cypriot community is making towards the UK in general. And I think it was very good of him to actually spend the time, because we know he has a lot of issues he's dealing with at the moment, and especially it being Wednesday with questions and answers over in Parliament today. He spent about 20 minutes with members of the community, and at least he's making steps towards, if you like, showing he's willing to help in the Cyprus issue. So fingers crossed, where perhaps some people haven't managed it, he'll manage to put across to Turkey how important a resolution for the Cyprus issue is at this time.
It was a very useful meeting, a very useful gathering today. We heard the Prime Minister what he had to say, and good things about the Cypriot community. For Caroline Flint, it's not the first time that we've seen Caroline Flint, but she was, as usual, very, very helpful in her remarks. The Prime Minister, again, he thanked the Cypriot community for the support and for the effort that the Cypriot community puts, and overall in the whole community, in the whole British community. Obviously, the Prime Minister, I asked the Prime Minister if he can to put some pressure on Turkey to be more flexible towards the Cyprus problem. He said that he already done that and he's trying in a lot of ways. And he's encouraging and he's very happy with the way talks are going on now, the direct talks. I suppose that's about it. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to invite the Prime Minister to come to the Cyprus Wine Festival and visit this exhibition that is taking place on the 27th and 28th of June. But I did ask Caroline Flint, and I hope she can make it. And I invite everybody who can make it to come to the Cyprus Wine Festival and visit this exhibition. As you know, it's the biggest event organized by overseas Cypriots. So I see you all there in June, 27th and 28th of June. Next day.
My name is Hassan Raif. I'm the secretary of the Haringey Cypriot Center and also the chair of one of the founding members of the Cypriot Center, Turkish Cypriot Democratic Association. And Cypriot Center has been there 30 years, helping the community with a success, very good success, and all the event. Last couple of events was amazingly successful. One was Gavazolu Shawili night, which we've been praised very good, and then also Caroline's visit to Cypriot Center was very, very good. And today, this event that federations organized has been very successful. Turkish and Greek Cypriots were all together, talking to each other, and I have find a few seconds to speak to Prime Minister, and the person next to me was Bambos Haralambos, which is a candidate for the Southgate, and he introduced me as an activist for Labour in Southgate, which I am a member of the Labour Southgate. And he thanked me for this, and he also asked me a few questions about Cyprus.
So tonight we were invited to come to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office by Caroline Flint who is, of course, the Minister of State for Europe. We're quite very delighted because we already had meetings with her as chair of the Cypriot Community Centre and also chair of the Cypriot Women's League. We have members who are of all Cypriot backgrounds, so really we're quite unique in this way. I'm also a member of the executive of the National Federation of Cypriots in the UK, so it was really with sort of three different hats that I was here tonight. As we said, the Minister's been very good in that she has said to us that as far as she's concerned, she's making the Cypriot issue a top priority for herself, and it was a delightful thing that tonight she also arranged that we would then meet also with the Prime Minister Gordon Brown, which we think is a very interesting and a good step forward because it means that Cyprus is really again back on the front burner, which is extremely important. I used to be the liaison officer and then principal race court officer of Haringey, which in 1974 were 40,000 Cypriots, which were then 30,000 Greek Cypriots and 10,000 Turkish Cypriots, who were then joined by another 11,000 who came over. In those days we didn't know what was going to happen, but they eventually were about 11,000. So you can imagine that we now have a mixed community of what we call residents from before, but also after 74. So it's been very important that we've kept this community cohesion going, and we obviously want our British government to understand that our communities do live together. They also want to live together as they did before, because the psychological side is something which has never been solved. We can't have a European Union country with this sword of Damocles hanging over their heads, actually, as it is with Turkey still remaining on the island. And I think that the message is coming over very clear. The Prime Minister himself said very clearly that we're pleased to hear that he's really behind this. He wants and supports, which he also said in his memorandum of understanding, which he had with President Dimitris Christofias, if you remember, which is very important, that they support us, but they've got to, obviously, and that's what we want the UK to do, also as one of the original guarantors, but also as a member European country. Cyprus and the UK are both Commonwealth countries together. We're also European Union countries together, so that to us is extremely important. And we really are the residents, we are the citizens of the UK, but also have rights to ask for help in this way for all our relatives and all over in Cyprus. It's affected us over here as much as it has over in Cyprus. So let's see this moving. In 2 weeks' time, I'm going with Andreas Karaolis from the National Federation. We're going to Washington because we go to what they call the PSECA, which is Justice for Cyprus. We meet up as reps from the UK with our American Cypriots, and we obviously then meet with the congressmen and women, also the senators. And in fact, a year and a bit ago, I actually met with President Obama, before he became President Obama, and he was very good. He actually said the way that our Prime Minister said tonight, that really, the troops must go. Well, he said the troops must go and we must reunite Cyprus, which is very important. So hopefully this is, we're beginning to move, and let's hope that that doesn't stop now. We need to get on with it because we must really support the way the UK now is saying, support by President Christofias and Mr Talat to not stop. We need to keep going. The momentum mustn't stop. We must keep going.
So I hope you managed to get President Obama to repeat his thing about Turkish troops out of Cyprus. Good luck.
I'm going to take my notes with me. And the other one actually was the Senator Joe Biden, who's now, of course, the vice. He also said positive things. I'm taking my notes with him to remind them. So it's going to be important.
Excellent. Thank you.